I have friends visiting from the States next week, but the cottage is not ready for visitors. So even though it's really sunny outside and I'd like to be working on some garden projects, I need to be inside ticking things off my giant to-do list. My guest room is still a giant mess from when I was putting my office together. I have a little drawer unit that I'm going to be putting under my desk that a lot of the junk in the guest room can go into, and it'll help me organise a little bit. I was going to make the drawers myself, but I had to talk myself down several times while I was building the shelves and the desk and reminding myself that it is a temporary project, and although building drawers would be good practice, I was feeling quite frustrated by the end of that build, and sometimes it is easier just to buy a little metal drawer unit from IKEA instead. I'm going to paint it and make it look nicer, and that is the first thing on the list this week. Assemble on a rug probably doesn't mean assemble on some paint-stained cardboard on a dirty carport floor. I should probably do something about that. The classic IKEA experience of thinking, no wonder everything is so cheap, it doesn't fit together properly, before realising you've misread the instructions and everything's upside down. We've all been there. While the first coat of paint was drying, I thought I'd tick a nice quick job off the list. How are you supposed to get this off to change the bulb? This was supposed to be a quick 5-minute job. Pliers. Okay, take 2. It's just pulling the paint off. I mean, maybe you unscrew from underneath. I don't think smashing the light off the wall is the solution here. If anyone's curious about how long it's likely to take me to get the cottage renovation finished, I just spent half an hour trying to remove a screw and failed. It doesn't bode well. What do we need to fix you? Okay, this should be a relatively easy fix, but I did say that about changing the light bulb. It is not going well. Headspace is sponsoring the video this week, more on that later, but their calming breathing techniques are definitely coming in handy. I had lunch in the garden and I've just about calmed down from the broken mirror fiasco. I can't put anything in my drawers until the paint is finished drying, so that'll be tomorrow, but I can make some progress in the guest room of doom, so I'm going to work on that. It's currently Sven's favourite place to hang out, so he's going to be really mad, but you can't have everything. Sven. Why are there always more boxes of junk? I took the day off from projects on Sunday and I went on a nice walk, did some baking and chopped up some wood. But by the afternoon, I was getting a little bit bored, so I made the frames for the top part of the cold frame. So now all I've got to do is cut the plastic to size, put that in, and then attach it all together and attach the top to the rest of it. That feels like a straightforward thing. I am breaking everything I touch today. I have enough plastic to make 2 more mistakes. And after that, I'm going to have to buy twin wall polycarbonate. And the irony is, the only reason I started this project was to have a use for the plastic from the greenhouse. At no point did I check this was a perfect fit, so who knows how this is going to go. We're going to call those gaps ventilation. Okay, moment of truth. Please open. Look at that! The cold frame is pretty much finished. I want to paint the handles and give the top of the frame another coat, but that's going to wait for another day because I think it's going to rain and I've got loads of things I need to be doing inside the cottage. I don't think my visitors are going to care about whether the handles on the cold frame are painted or not. They are not going to be sleeping in the cold frame. There's probably slightly more ventilation in it than what I'd have got from the garden centre, but the whole thing cost about £45. I had to buy 3 gravel boards and some clear grab adhesive, but everything else was stuff I had already or stuff that I had repurposed. So the top of the frame is made from bits of the old shed, the plastic came out of the greenhouse, the hinges and the handles were from my dad's collection, and I had the paint and screws already. So I am pretty happy with how that turned out. I think the one that I saw on sale in the garden centre, which was half the size, was £75, so I'll take it. I probably learned something along the way. Off the top of my head, is that I never want to cut plastic again. Having practical projects to focus on is something that's always helped me relax, and there's definitely no shortage of projects here. But when they're rained off or I run into problems, which seems to be happening quite a lot lately, sometimes I need to slow down and try something else. Thank you to Headspace for advertising with me this week. Headspace is a meditation app helping you to be more mindful and support your mental health.
Just taking one big deep breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth.
Aside from going to the occasional yoga class, I'm definitely a beginner when it comes to meditating, but Headspace make it really simple. They have a great basics course that you can do from as little as 3 minutes a day, so it's easy to fit into your daily routine. My mind is never quiet. My brain overthinks at 100 miles an hour, and I try and drown out my thoughts with audiobooks and podcasts rather than sitting with them. Headspace's guided meditations and breathing exercises help me to stay present in the moment and not panic about the next thing on my to-do list. With meditations for every mood, as well as cardio and yoga workouts, podcasts and sleepcasts, Headspace has something to help everyone reduce stress, find focus, and sleep better. I get so many comments from people saying my videos help them relax. So if you're feeling anxious or you need some extra help to unwind, I recommend trying Headspace. Sign up for a free 60-day Headspace trial today using the QR code or the link in the description. the light in my bathroom has been flickering ever since I moved in, and I assumed it was a faulty wiring issue because the wiring in this house is questionable, so I ignored it. But it turned out I just needed to change a bulb, so I've lived with it for 6 months for no reason. At least it's done now. I'd love to change out the light fixture because it's old and yellow and ugly, but I can't figure out how to get it off the ceiling, and it's probably going to be more trouble than it's worth. So I'll just deal with it until I renovate. But the satisfaction of taking it down will be huge. The next job on my list is to replace the lock in my front door. I don't use my front door very often. I tend to use the kitchen door if I'm coming and going, but I got locked out the other day and it was fine. I've got a spare key, but the spare key is for the front door, and I remembered why I don't use the front door, and that's because the key gets stuck in the lock. And I can usually get it out, but the other day, although the door unlocked perfectly fine, I couldn't get the key out of the lock, and I had to take the lock off from the inside. And I can't be doing that every time I come back from somewhere. So I've got a new barrel for the lock and I'm going to replace that now. And it should hopefully be an easy win. And I could really do with an easy win. That isn't even the thing you're supposed to be undoing, you moron. Oh my goodness, concentrate, dude. Hasn't made any difference. I don't understand. When I changed the locks at my last house, I managed to lock myself out and I had to climb over a 6-foot fence barefoot in the dark to let myself back in again, which was ridiculous. That'll do. I went with a brass replacement because who knows, eventually I might get around to cleaning up the doorknob and the letterbox, and that way they'll match. I was planning on re-siliconing the sink this morning because apart from that, the only things left on the list are baking and finishing to empty the guest room. And aside from those, all I really need to do is cleaning. But it's Thursday and my friends don't get here until Sunday morning. And if I clean now, I'm just gonna have to clean again, so it'll wait. But the silicone that I have, that I think was my dad's, turns out it has an expiry date for a reason because it has just gone solid in the tube, so I need to get some more. I have loads of other silicone sealant, but none of it is for like kitchens and bathrooms, so I feel like I shouldn't tempt fate. And I'm not going out just to get silicone. Living in the countryside has turned me into someone who doesn't leave the house for just one reason. So I'll wait till I've got other things to do and I'll pick it up then. But in the meantime, I might go outside and do something that's not on the list because the sun's out and being outside always perks me up. Most of these seeds will be coming inside for now, because although the greenhouse is warm when the sun's out, it's pretty cold at night and too far away from a power source to heat it. Of course it's not going to make any difference. Okay, well, maybe the solution is just to break the plastic housing. I mean, we just lifted that off. I still can't get at the bulb. Why? That just screws you to you. It doesn't even do anything to the bulb. How is this so difficult? All of my projects have seriously tested my patience this week. I've had to do quite a lot of deep breathing to calm myself down. Who needs an outside light anyway? One of us can see in the dark, the other one's got a head torch. You can guess which. I try and limit the amount of baking I do because I live alone and I have a tendency to eat everything before it's finished cooling down. But when I have other people to feed, all bets are off. I'm getting into baking, although there's still a lot of room for improvement. You've got to test out what you've baked. I'm taking next week off to do touristy things with my visitors. If you'd like to see more of what I've been up to recently, you can find me on Patreon, and I'll be back, hopefully with some decent progress on my raised beds, but I'm making no promises, the following week. Thanks for watching.